So I'm getting packed up, getting ready to go. I took a load going to Bakersfield, California, and went through inside and got all my stuff locked up and turned the thermostat down and all that stuff that I normally do. And uh, it was crazy the other day. The temperature went from almost 70 degrees to all the way down. We got snow. I mean, 70 degrees that day, snow that night. I still got snow on my porch, got snow up down the edge of the road. It's back up pretty warm out today. Got short sleeves on. But yeah, came out and got in the truck, had to move it to put my car up. And right as I was walking out the door, I thought the past 2 weeks have been pretty freaking aggravating. This is gonna be a good week. This week is gonna be a good week. Got in, started the truck up and looked ahead, and this is what I seen. So this is how my week is starting off. You guys can see this. Stops right there. So we just got fueling Glendale, and now Glendale, Kentucky, and now we're in Indiana, headed up on up to Elkhart, 3 hours 40 minutes away. I should make that tonight. I don't know if I get hooked up tonight or not. I really need to find somebody to put a windshield in this thing tomorrow before I leave out, but I may try to find someone to do it along the way. Not really sure. May just call Safelite and see if they can work me in somewhere. Because normally you call a call center and you tell them the route that you're going to be on, and they can kind of schedule it out to where they can get to you, whether it's at a whether they come out and meet you or whether you take it into one of their locations. I gotta say, I'm not a huge fan of Safelite. I mean, they're convenient and they're everywhere, but the only windshield they put in here, I wasn't real impressed with the way the guy drove my truck when he was pulling it around to the bay. And he was driving it like he stole it, and I actually threw a fit about that. And then they didn't put the cosmetic covers back on the wiper arms. I've never had a windshield put in at Safelite where I did not have something to complain about. Either something left off, had to put one in my 18-wheeler, and they didn't put the nuts on that hold the wiper arms on. They pushed them on, but they didn't put the nuts on. So when I backed out and I hooked back to my trailer and I get on the interstate, and about 15 miles down the road it started raining. I turned my wipers on and my wiper arms flew off. So yeah, I mean, about like anything else, you go to one store and you're going to have experts. You're going to have really good people who really know what they're doing. You go to another store and who knows what you'll get. So I can do a lot, but I can't put a windshield in, so I have to find somebody to do it. If y'all do know someone around the Elkhart, Goshen area that does it a really good job for a really good price, like a preferred person that y'all would use if y'all had to have one to put in, let me know in the comments. I figure I'll already have it done by the time this video comes out, but still be good to know for the next time. Or anybody else who is, having the same issue looking, might see it in the comments. But yeah, I'm kind of, this will be the first bumper pull I've pulled in a long time. It's a 27 foot prowler going to Bakersfield, California, and I figured it was going to Blue Dog RV, but it's actually going to Camping World. I've never been to Camping World out in Bakersfield. I've only been to Blue Dog RV, and I really like Blue Dog RV. Maybe Camping World will be about the same, but for a 27 foot bumper pull, the rates have went up, and it's paying $204 a mile. And normally to get 204 a mile, I got to pull one of the big heavy fifth wheel tri-axle, so maybe I can get some decent fuel mileage. I think the GVW on this thing's only like 9,000 pounds. All right, guys, there it is. I've already started a little bit of it. I didn't even know if I was going to hook up tonight or if I was going to wait till morning or what, but here I am. We found it. I've already got my packet out. My keys were in the heater box right there. There for a while I didn't even see keys in the heater box, so that must be becoming a thing again. Maybe it's just on these certain trailers. But 6148, I checked it with my VIN. I've already put my battery on, the jack works, everything seemed to work. That doesn't work too good, but that's not my problem. On this, usually there is a little bungee cord that goes underneath this to hold the plastic cover on, but this one didn't have the bungee cord. I will not pull them down the road without the bungee cord. I'll put that either in the back of my truck or I'll put it right here. This is a good place for it. This is the end caps off the bumper. You don't want those blowing off going down the road either. So I'll put those right there. And then I'll go around and lock it up after I get it, make sure all the lights work and get it checked out. One thing I did like better about the Gen Y hitch, it is more of a pain in the butt on nights like tonight to put it together, but my tailgate clears a lot better. I'm just curious to see if my tailgate will still shut after I get on that hitch. Now, I learned that little trick a while back. I'm sure you guys have already seen it. All you do is loop your cable over the top of the striker, just like you would take this one if you're on this side, and lift the cable up, hook it on top of the striker, and that gives your tailgate camera a more straight line of view to make sure your ball is directly under the hitch as you're backing under it from the dash of your truck. And just like I thought, it's going to hit the jack, so won't be able to let the tailgate down with this one. That is one major pro of the Gen Y. It may be more pieces and all that, but it definitely helps out. Now, another thing, without the plastic cover on, if I need to, I'll be able to get these a little bit closer to the propane tanks because it normally has to sit back out from under the plastic cover. And if you have a Chevrolet, and you've probably seen those hooks before, most hooks will be fine, but these, I've never got a set of these to hook in there without tearing the little safety clip up. But when you do it like this, it works great. So I actually had a really long conversation I really didn't care to have with a gentleman on Facebook about why do you need those? Why can't you just put the bigger hooks on your trailer? And I just couldn't get him to understand that I didn't pull the same trailer all the time, that my trailers have the bigger hooks. But there's sometimes that stuff just won't work. So this works out really good for me. Then I take them off and hang them back in the bed of the truck when I'm not using them. So get this hooked up, get the weight distribution on. All right, when you put these bars in, one thing, you see how the groove only goes so far? You don't have to take a screwdriver or something and get in there and pull those pins out to get the bars out when you get where you're going. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. I'm going to take the bar and snatch it up in there. It is set, just to show you it's set. There you go. I know some people that take and try to pull this out to get the bar out. Don't do that. Just move it all the way around forward. One hand, it just slides right out. What it does, it knocks the locking pin up out of that groove. If you can see that. I hope I'm in the camera, but it knocks the pin up out of that groove, and then you can just slide it right out. I should probably put some grease on that, but not going to because it hasn't been that long since the hitch was greased. Here's that one. And there's that one. Like I say, that is in there. That's not coming out. But if you fold it all the way around, it will just fall right out. Just like so. But I mean, I'm sure some of you guys already knew that, but I was just saying because I have another driver over here that was had called me and asked me how to replace the lock on the back of this because they took a screwdriver and put it in there and broke it off. So anyway, that's how you avoid doing that. Now, another thing I noticed, this is loose, so we're going to go ahead and, I'm not going to over crank it. I'm just going to snug it up. I will check it multiple times as I go. Now, when I'm looking at this, I want to make sure that this is a straight up and down in a line.
as it can be and still close. So there's a wiring harness back here that's holding me up. Just make sure not to pinch that wiring harness. That's going to be as straight as I can get it. So I'll come right around under here and tighten it up. I believe this is a 1/2 inch wrench too if you got one and you don't want to mess with an adjustable. And when you tighten these things down, just make sure you're not into the wiring harness behind it if there is a wiring harness. And then too, they don't have to go just super tight. Just bring them down to the touch, give them like a 1/4 turn. Or else, that is what I do anyway. It has been a while since I pulled one of these, and if you need some of these pins for locking down your saddle there, I got those off Amazon. I never even thought about it. I've been trying to get them from the dealers when we go to the dealers to deliver. So when you're down here about to put your saddle on, it's going to be kind of hard because I'm holding the camera and hooking it up. Don't let your chain get all twisted like that. Don't do that. Come around and straighten it up to where if you stand over top of it, it looks like an X all the way down. And then whenever you're getting ready to put your chain on your saddle, make sure that it goes through like that. Do not pull the end of this crap right here and put it through between the links. That's just not proper. That's not the right way to do it. So and there we go. I'm going to go to the other side and do this other one the same way, leaving one link hanging. And the way that I check that, yeah, you probably could go down and get another link, but I just want to put a little tension because when we let the jack the rest of the way down, I just let it down until the ball and the hitch came together. I didn't let it push down on my truck at all. And then I pulled just enough slack to get it snug. And then whenever I let the rest of the weight down, that will tighten those bars up. Do not let this bar go once you tighten it down until the pin is in place. I have a big old scar on my leg from where I was telling somebody not to do that. And while I was explaining to them not to do that, I turned loose of the bar. So I guess I gave them a very good demonstration of why you don't do that. Like I say, this is normally the last thing that I do is plug the lights in. I know that's probably going to be backwards to what a lot of people say or do, but it's what I do. So also, make sure your chains are crossed on this part. Pretty simple. I come through here after the hitch is locked, and I run this through here, and then I also bring this through here. Right like that. All right. That is a weatherproof lock. I'm not sure how good it is, but so far it's holding up good. I just need to remember to put some oil on it. So now that keeps this up off the road. Should keep that up off the road. It's a good idea to check that too, but I believe we're fine. And we'll go ahead and let her down. All right, so torqued my lug nuts, locked all my doors, went around it one more time looking for scratches. It has been a while since I pulled a bumper pull, so I double checked everything again. I was worried I might have missed something while I was trying to record, and everything looked good. And normally there's a rubber cap that hangs from there right there, and it's not there. I'm not gonna worry about it. There's not one on this one either. And these are the end caps that I pulled out earlier. And if they blow out going down the road, I think they do charge you for them. So I am back here in Joplin at the I-44 Petro, and woke up check my oil, check my belt, look for anything out of place under the hood. And especially since I just serviced it, I just like to check it and keep a close eye on it. And walk around my unit. Now this thing is freaking filthy. I mean, I noticed it the other night whenever I was hooking up, but God, golly, it looked like somebody took it off-roading before it got over there. Like I say, I was still looking at some of those marks, hoping they're not scratches, but I saw a couple of these things going down the road, the same trailers, the prowlers, and they all look about the same.
So here in Joplin, fuel with our discount is $4.02 a gallon. Now, if you click on that, that's at the Pilot. If you click on that, it's $4.02. Well, the actual price on the sign is $4.99. All right, so that's saving us 97 cents a gallon, and that's not bad. I've already got fuel. I bought it for $4.04 last night at Stratford. But if you take and just keep scrolling to the side, the next place I'll need to get fuel, I normally go to Amarillo, but I was just sitting here looking this morning. $3.97 in Oklahoma City, petrol fuel, one of my preferred places to stop anyway. $3.97 and $5.19 on the sign. So granted, that's still higher than what it was before, but that's one heck of a discount. So I just got on the road in Joplin. We're just fixing to cross into Oklahoma, and I was looking at the fuel prices, and that's when I saw, the differences, that the fuel discount seems to have gotten a little bit better. And that's kind of what I was saying in previous videos. In all my years of trucking, you're gonna have good weeks and bad weeks, and whenever fuel jumps, that's usually a bad week or 2 weeks, or I've seen it be a bad 6 weeks or 7 weeks. But usually it does correct. I know a lot of people go jumping ships. There's been a lot of different companies showing different rates. Our rates have went up and all that stuff. But when you look at it, you got to factor in everything, because one of the companies that their rates have went up, that we keep getting other drivers sending us, hey, you need to come over here, look at what the rates are. And that's fine, and I hope they do really well. But whenever I figure it in as a whole, I'm better off to stay where I'm at. I'm not seeing any reason to move yet. And I'm not a job hopper. I don't do that. I mean, if I go somewhere, I'm gonna stay there a minimum of a year, unless it's just horrible, and then it has to be something significant to move me out of what I'm doing. I'm not gonna just change on the wind. I've seen so many people go broke looking for greener grass on the other side. They'll take their truck and trailer back in the 18-wheelers. They get sitting around a truck stop or sitting around wherever and hear all these other drivers talking about how great it is at this other company, and they start making phone calls, and basically when you call the recruiter, you're calling the salesman, and their job is to sell you on that job. They need to be as honest as they can, but even still, their job for that company is to recruit people, so they're that's their thing. They're salesmen in my book. Now I'm not saying that that's bad. I mean, they still give good information, but if I had $1 for every time I started a company and was told a whole bunch of stuff, and then I get in there and it's not that way, so I'll call the recruiter to get the application process started and ask specific questions like, do you use ComData EFS? Do you, just company-specific questions that they can answer for me. But as far as what I base most of my decision on is the other drivers that I've talked to and how transparent they are. If they're willing to let me see everything, rate confirmation sheets, everything that they have. And there's got to be something really good, or I wouldn't be considering going over there. Anyway, that one of the companies that's been sending their rates and stuff around, a bunch of other drivers have been sending their rates to a bunch of the drivers over here. I'm not gonna call the name of it, but I looked into them, just curiosity. And they do have better rates than we do right now. They do. 6 months ago they didn't. Their fuel discount isn't half what we get over here. They don't have a self-dispatching load board. I don't even know if they have a load board, but I'm thinking they have one, but you can't self-dispatch. You can see what's there and call in and take the load. So the self-dispatching load board over here, that's worth an awful lot to me. Now it can be frustrating when there's not that many loads on the board and it's like piranhas jumping at bait coming in the pool, you know, that it can be very frustrating. You click on 7 loads in a row and then it all says this load has already been considered for dispatch. You got to beat Johnny on the spot with that daggone clicker, you know. But and that gets frustrating. But like right now, you know, the rest of the time it's great. It's great during that time, because think about it, if the loads were that scarce and all that stuff, how long would you sit on hold with that company before you got an answer? And then when you did get somebody to pick up, how, you know, would they be able to answer your questions and talk to you, you know, like they normally would if they had the same amount of people clicking that load board was calling that dispatcher? In my experience, no. They don't even answer the phone when, you know, they don't have time to answer the phone if they got that many people calling in. And if they do, they're extremely short, blunt, to the point, and then hang up, you know. So the load board is probably, being able to self-dispatch is probably one of the main reasons that I don't see why I would ever leave here right now. The fuel discount is the second thing. Even if the rates are not as comparable with everyone else, as long as they keep their fuel discount staying. Even before fuel went up, if I remember right, it was 60 to 80 cents a gallon off. And then now that fuel went up, it's $1 to $1.20 off. It's pretty substantial in my book, for me. You know, that makes a big difference for me. So, yeah, you kind of got to look at all aspects of it, because even if the rate is paying a whole lot better, if you're spending that money back in fuel, you know, it doesn't matter. I'm here in Oklahoma. My buddy called, said he got him a big old boo-boo in the windshield. So we went ahead and started fixing it. Y'all know I got a crack in the windshield, so we went ahead and went through the process on his. And what I've been using is this Rain-X repair kit. The reason I use it now is because it's reusable. It comes with a little vial of resin and all that. But this thing was ugly earlier. I wished I'd have got it before and after, and it ain't much better now, but we looked at it before we put the curing strip on it, and all the streaks were pretty well gone. So what we're gonna do is let this cure for 20 minutes, and I put the contraption on my truck over here that comes with it, and I figured I'd see if it didn't start pumping some resin up to that crack, though I know it won't. But anyway, that's what I'm doing right now. Like I say, on mine, there's a loud truck over there. I apologize for not having headset or something, but I was wondering if we found a chip where that thing got chipped and cracked. It's not big, it was a little bitty place. So I centered this up over top of it and trying to force the resin up through the crack while we're waiting on his to dry, but I just do not see it happening. But this is the other kits. Well, the other kits have just got the one-time use tube of resin, but the Rain-X kit is got the bottle of resin with the cap on it, so you can reuse it over and over again. So that's what I started buying, and it seems to do about the same job as the other ones. So I've already fixed a couple of chips in this windshield. There's, well, one right here. I don't know if y'all see that. There's another one right here. There's 2 or 3 on the other side. I think it's 5 that I fixed in this windshield, and they never spread. But I do remember a couple of times hearing a rock hit something and thinking, oh heck, there goes my windshield, and I couldn't find it. And it, with the bugs on, it's smaller than the bugs on the window. So we just happened to, my buddy actually found it. I didn't even find it. So sitting in the truck and just looking for the crack. that we just fixed, because it was significant. And if you look, it is right here. If I move the camera around a little bit, oh heck, it's right there. I can see it. I see a hairline, a little crack coming out on this side where it was, but it's not even enough to mention. I'm gonna try to zoom in, but I hope I don't mess nothing up too bad. Alright, put my finger on it and find my finger. There it is, right. It's right there. I mean, I don't see it on the camera. Maybe y'all do, maybe you don't. But the windshield, the Rain-X windshield crack fix stuff, I always keep at least one tube or one repair kit in the truck with me for stuff like that.
Putting some drinks in the cooler and stuff this morning, and I quit buying a lot of food to go in the cooler, just basically because I only normally eat once a day. I don't do a lot of snacking. I picked this up and seen how slimy that stuff had got in there, and the top's all popped out on it. So that's why I quit buying a lot of food for the cooler, is because it go bad before I ate it, and it wound up going in the trash. Here today at Klein's Corner, just woke up, walking around, make sure everything's still where it's supposed to be, checking my tires, and just stretching my legs mostly, and getting ready to get the day started. I got to turn my fuel on here in a minute. I've got down pretty low on fuel, but still got plenty in my auxiliary tank, full tank in my auxiliary tank. Then we're gonna stop in Milan, get something to eat, get a shower, get more fuel, and go again. So leaving Klein's Corner, I think it's like exit 218. And if you ever come through here and looking for a place to park, they usually always got camper parking out front where I'm at. But they got the sign that says no semis on this lot. And they have another sign right beside of it that says 5 acres of parking in the next lot. So I always feel pretty confident I can find a parking spot here if I can anywhere else. So I got something to eat, got fueled up and showered up, and I'm ready to go again. So the next stop should be Kingpin. And then I think it says I'm like 5 hours away, 5.5 hours away from Kingpin. And then I'll kind of reevaluate how I'm feeling and everything. And if I still feel pretty good, I'm headed on across to Boyne, California, right there at the Big Loves. So we'll get on down the road, see how everything goes. I did see a gentleman in here earlier when I first pulled in. He was Bennett and had a Dodge pickup truck that had the bed taken off, and he built it into a RV bed. Had a fifth wheel and a gooseneck and all that stuff on it. And I have been thinking an awful lot about that old 2004 that I have at home that's wrecked. It's going to have a cab. I'm trying to figure out what to do with the engine transmission that's in it. I thought about putting in that old square body Chevrolet four-wheel drive I got. I think that would just be cool. And then I also thought about finding me a single cab, putting back on it, just driving it when I'm home. But then I also thought about buying one of the sleepers, the aftermarket sleeper. I don't know what they're called. I don't know who makes them. But you basically cut out the back of the cab and boot it up to the back of the cab, and that way you still got a full sleeper behind the seat. And then do the bed like what he did his, and put a fifth wheel and a couple toolboxes and a big fuel tank and all that stuff. I don't know. I feel like once I do that, I don't know. It's just something I've been pondering around on. One, I could keep it for a spare truck in case this one goes down, or I could park this one and drive the other one and
do that, but in my experience, if you ever let one truck sit, it'll start having issues. It'll either start leaking oil or it'll start doing something. But that's kind of what I'm pondering on today. And that gentleman back there a while ago, he had a very, very nice setup, so kind of got my mind going. Well, I never really saw that coming. I was driving on along down the interstate, and all of a sudden, wind just picked up out of nowhere. I noticed it had gotten a little bit gusty, but as I was coming across, about the time I hit right here is where I'm at now. And man, it just got bad, and I pulled off this exit here in Holbrook, just a big old dirt parking lot with some other stuff sitting around, and it's not that bad right now. You can see the dust way out there in the field picking up, but just a second ago you couldn't hardly see the road out there. That wind ever gets under the right dust, it just almost goes to, well, it really cuts the visibility down. But I am going to turn around because the wind has hit me head on, and I don't want it blowing all that dust straight into my hood scoop, so I'll turn around and face back the other direction. So at least where I'm at now, the dust is blowing at the back of the trailer and blowing on off, but check out that view. That is pretty amazing view. And from the looks of it, this wind is going to keep up till 11 o'clock tonight. Throws a major wrench in my plans, but nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. So you guys be able to see this or not, you might be able to hear it, but the way it's shaking the mirrors and blowing past the truck there. The other mirror over there about the same. You can see them just sitting out there shimmying in the wind. Feel the truck shaking around. Dealing with the wind and everything else yesterday, it was just not in the cards. I had a little bit more time on my clock when I stopped here, but it done got late, and I'm still in good shape, so I didn't feel like there's any reason to push it. I am about 3 hours from delivery. GPS says I'll be there about 10:30, 10:36 is what it's saying, and that'll get me there in time to deliver and get paid today. If you're delivering California and you're thinking you won't get paid the same day, you got to be real careful about the time zone change, because it'll be 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock out here, and it'll be 11, 12, 1 o'clock back there. I think it's a 3 hour time difference, but I can't remember. You can check on that. It's 9:44 at home, and it is 7:45 here, and it's 10:45 in Indiana. So 3 hour time change. So I think the cutoff on the paperwork is 4 o'clock. You need to have your paperwork in by 4 o'clock, so 1 o'clock, in order to get paid the same day. It's easy enough. Well, you see how long it takes them to come out and actually get us checked in. So I'm splitting the parking lot to give them enough room for the slide out, but I'm gonna make sure and get up far enough that the unit itself is in a parking spot. Go ahead and get this disconnected and see how long it takes. Shouldn't take long though. So Camping World of Bakersfield turned out to be a pretty good place to unload. Got unhooked, and they got me taken care of pretty quick. One thing that I did want to show right here is whenever I go to take the weight distribution bars off, I didn't reach or pull or anything to get those bars out. I just run them all the way around toward the truck and they just drop out. So got unhooked, pulled the truck forward. The guy was already in the camper before I got completely unhooked, and they got me in and out pretty quick. That's down as one of my places I don't mind going at all. One of the on my favorites list, put it that way. On the way out here, I was thinking I had the weight distribution set up, not proper or something, and this is the first time I used this hitch in a long time. It actually belonged to a friend of mine, and then I bought it from him. And when I bought it before, I didn't really use it. I was pulling goosenecks and stuff. I used it some, but not all the time. Then I bought the Gen Y. Anyway, I kept hearing a noise, and that's what I thought it was, and that probably was a lot of it. But this, I talked not long ago about how I set a hitch up with the washers and stuff, and those washers being loose. And then whenever you look at, that's what I was feeling right there. Why it felt like it kept hitting and pulling away from the truck. So that's got to be fixed before I hook another trailer. So overall, this wasn't a bad trip. I did get hung up by the wind, a few different little things, but absolutely on my list of favorite places to go. And now it's time to get turned around and headed back. I'm going to get one more, and still haven't got my windshield fixed. I'm going to have to look into that. But I just want to say thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.